Now, last week, the Northland Regional Council was told its non-inclusionary position in an environmental court appeal process is now untenable because 3 organisations had withdrawn their support. This is all to do with the anti-GMO movement across the multiple different facets that make up the Northland region. All that, and of course, I want to talk about water. We are joined by Dr. Jason Smith, as he's formerly known at dinner parties. But here on Sarah's Country, he's among friends. It's Jake. How are you this evening, Jake?
Kia ora, Sarah. Very well. Great to be joining you from the Kaipara. Thank you.
No worries. Now, we have been talking a lot about food and health and nutrition throughout Sarah's Country tonight. I want to start by saying how important it is for you, the word kai and Kaipara.
Look, I mean, kai, the Māori word for food, is absolutely in our name here in Kaipara District. And so food is very, very important. I'd just like to put a special shout out to Wayne Langford and the people of Meet the Need. It's just amazing stuff that they're doing. Amazing stuff they're doing there. And, you know, we're huge champions for food. We grow great food here in Kaipara, just north of Auckland. Yeah, it's the great food bowls where all your kumara come from. Wherever you are in New Zealand eating a kumara, it comes from here.
I know, and we had a bit of a kumara shortage this year, Jake, which is a bit of a worry.
Yeah, well, it's to do with the drought. The drought really knocked the kumara story around a bit, but you know, it's been here a long time. It'll be here a long time to come. And so it's all good for the kumara here. Yeah.
And of course, we'll talk about water shortly. But the reason I've got you on the show tonight is I saw this headline, Anti-GMO wins in Northland. Now, here on Sarah's Country, we believe that there's more depth behind headlines, Jake, and hence inviting you onto the show because it's not that straightforward. Could you explain what's been happening up there around this movement?
Yes, so it's not quite as simple as that headline would reveal. Quite simply, in Northland, you have the Northland Regional Council, and then you have 3 district councils. And both Whangarei and Far North District Council have said that they don't want GMO. And now the Regional Council had made a decision saying that it was going to let it go and be silent on that. And now it's come out last week with a changed position, which is for no GMO in what's called the coastal marine area. That's the salt water of all the harbours and the coasts. The only outlier here now anywhere north of Hauraki is Kaipara District Council. And that is an extraordinary anomaly that's occurred, which meant that Kaipara District Council missed the bus that everyone else was on because of what happened when there were no elected members for Kaipara District Council. So what's happened right now is that the Northland Regional Council's come out and said no GMO in the salt water. Whangarei District Council has a clear position. Far North District Council has a clear position. And Kaipara District Council, we've said that when our district plan is reviewed in a couple of years' time, that we will also take that precautionary approach. But for the meantime, Kaipara District as a place is not GMO free.
And
technically, it's a bit tricky right now.
Yeah, certainly. So in terms of the difference between land and sea, is this encroaching across the private property rights of the Northland growers for GMO and, of course, blurring the lines with genetic editing and the potential that can have?
I guess I wouldn't want this to be being tested in a court, and I certainly wouldn't want anyone to say, let's go and put GMO crops there and let's really push the edges of this. I guess the point of what we're saying is that there is certainly a gap in the system here. And I guess for farmers and growers here, they'll just be getting on with making the best food that they possibly can. The important thing as well, I mean, the whole GMO story is one thing, the gene editing story is another, and we have all sorts of other issues going on here in the north, for example, regarding Kauri dieback disease and people are talking about the potential of gene editing that could potentially save kauri trees. And of course, regarding pest control, possums, which of course are great vectors for that disease and a huge challenge to our forest, and sort of control of them. With gene editing, but that's a different story from where we are right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of producing the best food and fibre for Northland, Jake, it of course needs water. What do you say to many around the country that believe these Primary Growth Fund has been a slush fund for Northland?
So the Provincial Growth Fund, all of the stats that we have, that anyone has, shows that on a per capita basis, Northland has had no more money than any other region or province of New Zealand. And that's what the evidence shows, but that's not what the media says. So that's on the first level, right? And so it's a really, really simple proposition. One of the important things that is being talked about with the Provincial Growth Fund, well, we have our Kai in Kaipara project. For example, we have the Kaipara Kai Hub in Ruawai that's now operating. And also further to that, we've got water storage that's being talked about for Northland region through the Provincial Growth Fund. And the new Tai Tokerau Water Trust has just been established using some of that PGF money to help create water storage here in the north for the future, for crops and for stock water and for the towns.
What more needs to be done? Last time we spoke, that would take some considerable rain and over a metre to recharge those aquifers. Where are we at now, and what more needs to be done?
That's exactly right, Sarah. You've got a great memory. We're still in that same critical space that we were. So as of tonight, and we've had a couple of inches today of rain, which has been awesome. But as of tonight, we're at just over 250 millimetres of rainfall for this calendar year. That is less, or that is about half. We'll call it half. We'll call it 50% of our normal average rainfall for for Kaipara District, for the western part of Northland. Now, here's the thing. I've got this mate, Pete Moore, and he flies in a helicopter all across Northland, and he sends back stories of all the tarairi trees on the hills, the bush that's dying all over the north because of the drought that's only right now a spade depth down. So we have a real critical issue with this massive soil moisture deficit when we right now are only at half our normal average rainfall. We've got a critical issue for right now and for next summer. It hasn't got better in the last month at all, really. Yes, it rains, the grass is growing, but the catch-up that we are yet to make, put it this way, if we were to get that metre of rain, it would look like the set of the piano by the time we got to October, and we would be in even worse trouble in a different kind of way than we are now with that mud and the pastures being absolutely destroyed all across the north. So it's this really tricky time.
And of course, the source of it only really coming from the sky, with Auckland trying to come from an over-allocated Waikato River. I mean, here in Canterbury, there was a large freshwater aquifer found off the coast of Christchurch. Is there anything amazing like that found around Northland?
No one's got any money to go looking for great undersea aquifers, but we saw that beautiful Canterbury story and just went, that's fantastic. Yeah, Canterbury's had such a bad time with the earthquakes and so on for so long. So kia kaha, Canterbury, and it's good on you. Get into that water, and it's like we're looking for those sorts of solutions for up here too.
Jake, last night we had a really great long-form discussion with ECAN councillor Megan Hands talking about David Parker's RMA reforms, putting the environment above all else. What's your thoughts on that?
We need to have a really balanced approach. One of the key issues about sustainability is that you have to have economic sustainability as well as environmental sustainability, and to be able to make a really robust model for your future. And so we certainly need to be caring for our environment, but the kind of if you like, the custodianship, if you like, or the stewardship of the land. That's what farmers do, and they've been doing for hundreds and thousands of years, and they know their place best. And so I'm saying we need very careful, sustainable approaches.
Thank you so much. And as we introed you there talking about dinner parties, what's your go-to? I'm assuming you're a good chef, cook, and in terms of winter dishes.
And look, it's got to be Hereford beef from our farm. We've got an 80-year-long Hereford beef stud here. And so there's just a really simple set of sirloin steaks, actually. Just got to do the steak, really. Yeah. And the more people, the more steak.
Fantastic. And I know you'll be checking out that cozy ebook there from the Food Writers Association with all those proceeds going to meet the need. Go to foodwriters.org to check it out. It's only $10.
This is Sarah's Country.